search the number, and you got to do one by one,
Yeah. Hey, I
right?
just
So
basically hit the record
yeah,
button in here. So, and I'm gonna go ahead and hit the send button too, because I know you have a story, and I wanted that story to be told to everyone, not just me. So how you started and why you started, it sounds pretty interesting, and I know you're gonna get into a whole lot, but you're gonna relate with everyone else with that story of what it is. So I just pushed a Facebook live to be in our MLOBOX group. I am recording this as well, so we can upload it to anyone else who wants it, and even inside next internal group page. But obviously, leads is always going to be an amazing topic and perfect topic for any loan officer. Uh, and I know we have here Arturo Tito from a branch uh, in
arrowhead.
in Arrowhead right there, and uh, you've been doing these all day. It looks like answering some of these questions and some long conversation about how you found the ways to generate. And you just started telling me a little bit of the story, but I want the rest of the people to also either. Hey, there's a link that they can join us in this Zoom conversation. So come in, ask Arturo directly in a Zoom, or just comment in the Facebook, and we'll try to get all the answers. But I think Tito has some amazing ideas. He just had his Vision 2020 for Success training, training lots of new loan officers, and successfully implementing this system. So that's the best part about it. So what's going on, Tito? I appreciate you, first of all, doing this after hours and moving up throughout the day, but I
Yeah,
appreciate you still
no
adjusting your
problem, man.
schedule and making it happen. I'm excited to hear. I know bits and pieces of it,
Yeah, I
but
mean, so it's not super complicated, and some people might even say, "Oh, I've done that before," or "I've seen that before," which is fine. Like I was saying, like I kind of just started getting a bunch of ideas kind of together from other people and what other people have done. Like one of them, like mailers, right? V8 Earls is a big one. So being able to get those mailers. So what do? You pay $4,000 or $5,000 to send out 7,500 or 8,000 mailers because it has to be a lot of volume, right? And you get those seasonings 6 months after the first payment date, right? Same thing with FHA streamlines. You do mailers for FHA streamline. So, one of the things that I thought about was like, okay, this is a perfect fit for 2020, the Vision for Success class, because we got a lot of new LOs in there that don't have a database. They don't have a huge marketing budget, and to be honest with you, neither do I. I don't have $4,500 to spend every month on, on either buying leads and all that. I mean, we all know lending true. We all know UWM does bank rate. We all know all that stuff. But at least, I still consider myself pretty new. I've only been licensed since January 2019, so I'm not a veteran by all means, and I don't have a huge database, but I'm starting to get a lot more repeats, referrals, and stuff like that. But I'm still trying to find a way to bring in and generate business on a budget for
absolutely.
for lack of a better word. So
Yep.
I've seen people do the mailer thing. And that's where I kind of got the idea. I was like, how can I go after those clients, more myself, or directly? How do I generate that data? So one of the things that I thought was like, well, let's get the data. And then the other idea that came to mind was with your CRM, Daily AI, we did a text campaign for recruiting, right? Brett Weiss has been talking about that. And he's been helping people with you and him with that campaign. And it's just a text message and it sends a video and it leaves a voice drop. So I was like, you know what? I was like, there's got to be a way for me to implement this on streamlines or on refi campaign and stuff like that. So I came across this website called Agent Pro 247. Okay, so like I
Agent
said,
Pro
Agent Pro 247. So
47. Okay.
when you start off as a brand new loan officer, like one of the first things that your branch manager or whatever, they introduce you to a title company, and the title company sends you a list. But in my personal experience, the title company, those lists usually don't come with a number. They might have a couple numbers, but they don't have a lot. So when you're brand new, yeah, you have the time. You don't have deals in the pipeline, so you can skip trace each one. Reverse peoplefinder.com or whatever. You put the address in the name, it gets you back a phone number. So you're stuck there calling one person at a time, right? Well, that takes time. That takes a lot of energy to get into that. And I've done it and it works, right? But as you get a little bit busier, you try to find a way to make things more streamlined, more automated, right? Do a lot more work in a shorter amount of time. So again, I've seen people do the mailers. I've seen people, so I was like, you know what, that's a really good thing to target. We probably still have, rates are increasing, but there's probably a good chance we can still find that some earls. We can still get some streamlines out there. You know, there's people with down payment assistance programs that are 5.25.
Right.
You know, these people think that they have to wait 3 years to refi, right? Because that's what they've been told. Well, the truth is, it's not that they have to wait. It's just that it becomes payable back within those 3 years. So think about it this way: if they got $8,000 in down payment assistance, well, after a year and a half, they're going to owe 4, right? It's prorated. So their payoff is going to be bigger. But the thing is, right now, people have equity. So you can probably refi them out in about 14 to 16 months, not the whole 3 years, right? So that's another campaign that I'm getting ready to do. So
absolutely, and I can relate to that with that as well, because before I came to Nexa, I used to work for a lender with the DPA leads all the time, and yes, I was selling 6.25% interest rates that those DPA they give them. I'm like, and I've been refinancing them from 6.25% earlier than 3 years, because I haven't even been in Nexa for 3 years. Last year I've been taking them down to rates in 2s and 2.5%, like you said, and 3%, saving a whole bunch while eliminating mortgage insurance. They never put the money in there, and then saving that $700 a month, taking it from 6.25% down to 3.5% rate. So
so I mean, rates are going up, but I think there's still a small window to get some streamlines and some earls. We can probably still drop people below, below 3%. And you know what? If you go bar paid, who cares, right? It's one more loan that you didn't have before. So think about it that way. If you're gonna, this is gonna cost you $85. So I mean, for $85, you got one more loan or 2 loans out of it that you didn't have before. Yeah, I'll go bar paid on a VA Earl all day long. Like, why not? It's another loan you wouldn't have before.
Correct.
So basically, that's title and all that stuff. You get those lists, and you have to do a lot of work. So with your CRM, with Daily AI, and with the capabilities that it has, and the text message thing, I thought, you know what? Let's just do a text campaign, but how do I get the data? How do I get the phone numbers, and how do I get all that? So Agent Pro 247. Here, I'll share my screen real quick.
Yeah, please do.
Let's see. Oh, you gotta turn it on.
Okay, there you go. It's on.
And again, when you guys see this, you're like, oh, that was easy. Like I'm saying, it's not rocket science. I'm not saying that this is super hard. It's not, and at the same time, full disclosure, please make sure that before you communicate, you get everything approved by compliance. Okay. Don't just monkey see, monkey do. Like, make sure you get everything approved by compliance and all that good stuff. But so here's Agent Pro 247, right? You can get a free subscription. You don't necessarily have to subscribe, but one of the most, and you can definitely get more than 500 records per month. Okay. Again, I'm not saying this is how you have to do this. This is just the way that we've been doing it here in the branch, because I'm thinking cost effective and easy to maintain, right? So $50 a month gets you 500 records a month. I thought that was a good start, a good way to go. Let's test this campaign, because we didn't know what was going to happen. So I didn't want to overdo it and get a bunch of stuff. So Agent Pro 247, Google it, find it, create your account. It's for real estate agents. So I just put my MLS number where it says real estate license. I don't know, it's not a big deal. Anyway, so you log in, and again, if somebody has a better resource, if somebody has a good place to dig this information out, and it's free, or if it's not as expensive, let us know, right?
Let us know. Put it in a comment there. I do know there are other sources that you can buy a list from it. So I'm gonna dig some of them myself, but this is a great way to look at it. And
so this was just, I found it and it worked. I'm like, you know what? And it was inexpensive. It was $50. I was like, you know what? Because I was like, I was gonna get 500 records, and it was gonna cost like 120 something. But then if you sign up on a subscription, I'm like, oh well, I might as well just do the $50 per month and pull 500 records every month. So we're on our second month. This is this is going to be, once we scrub all the data, this is going to be our second campaign. We've only ran it once. But this is it. And I know there's more. This is all comes from Black Knight. I know everybody's heard of Black Knight data. They keep track of all kinds of analytics and stuff. So I think Agent Pro, there's another one called Title Pro 247. I don't care. Doesn't matter, right? Agent Pro 247, Title Pro, however you guys find the data that's going to give you numbers and things. So you can go by state, right? So it pretty much works in whatever market you want to be in. You can filter by counties, okay? Or you can filter by cities, whatever you want. So I'm just going to keep this simple. Just go Arizona, Maricopa County. So property, the only thing I do is I just go and I say, I don't want, I was like, property types, I'm gonna go condos, because if it's an FHA or an EARL, I mean, that means the property that's already approved. HUDs and single family, right? And sales, so this is where it goes phones only. Okay, this is one of the features because I want to call and I want to text. I'm not using this to send out mailers. So for my purposes, I only want data that has phone numbers. That's it. I don't want
Perfect.
no I
And
only want phones only.
and I know you'll go over this stuff right there, but yeah, with phone numbers, sending out, I know you have a process of it. So we'll get to that part as well. Once you pull the phone numbers, what do you do next?
Yeah. Demographics, this I don't care about because I don't care who you are. If you need a mortgage, I'm going to refi you. So I don't really filter by demographics. Foreclosure, I just say no foreclosure. We're not trying to do that. So the meat and potatoes is right here, right? So we're going to go mortgage type. If you wanted to go just at VA, then just do VA. What we've been doing is we've been doing FHA and VA, right? Because the campaign that we made, I just kind of try to keep it. I use the word streamline. I don't say EARL or I don't say FHA. I say streamline because honestly, they're both streamline refinances. So I just say streamline, and it fits well for an FHA streamline or a VA EARL. They're essentially streamlines. So I'll filter for those because, you know, for this specific campaign, we just want to do FHA, VA.
Makes sense.
And then interest rates, I'll start off with maybe greater than, say, 3.5. Right? So anything that's above 3.5. Now you can filter for whatever you want. I mean, you can go 4 and see if anything's out there. Right? You can click the count button. It'll show you right over here. So you'll see that there's over 5,000 records in Maricopa County that are FHA and VA that are over for 4%. Right? So I mean that over 5,000. That's what it says. It's not going to give me how much. So
yeah, it's probably a lot more than that. So
to get to get a little bit more narrowed down, then what we do is you would say, okay, so on a VA, let's get a little bit more specific. So on a VA, what's the seasoning rule? It's 210 days after the first payment date, right? So you want to try to catch these that are either ready to refi or at least about a month out, you know. So you want to be able to do, let's just say anybody, 6 months ago was December. So I don't know, let's just say 12 of 2020. No, they're already going to be ready. So I don't know, let's just plug a date. I mean, you guys will figure out the dates, right? So 2019 to 12 of 2020. So this is first mortgage recorded date. So when they're recorded, right? So you see that brings our count down to 257. So it's not that was it. Remember, we're filtering by phones only, right? So it's only going to give us records. I mean, obviously there was a lot more loans done, but only with phones greater than 4%. So at this point, what I try to do here is like, again, I'm trying to get to 500. So I'll do, okay, well, let's try 3.8. It's going to give me, okay, 257. So you just kind of, here you're just playing with the filters now, trying to get to that 500 because I want to maximize. There you go. Higher than 3.4, there's 1,100.
Yeah.
Right. So at this point, it's really up to you. You can either stick to the 500 or you can buy as much as you want. You can buy as much data as you want. You can get all 1,100 records if that's really what you want right now. Right. So this is just how I've been pulling the data, and I have one pulled up. So like this one's I have several. Here's the one that I did. I did VA FHA, and let's see, let me move it over. I got Kevin here, which is licensed in multiple states. I got my California license. Tom's in Arizona. We got a new LO that's in Arizona. So I myself pulled California, right? So once you get your records, you can see this one was about 529, right? So I just went ahead and bought the extra 30. Like, why not? Like 500. So this one's 529. So here's my records. It starts with the APN. I pull everything because I'd rather have everything more than I need. Then I can go through filter and delete what I don't, right?
Right.
But at least, I mean, you can see it's got everything. You got the property address, you got the name, and owners, and some of the important stuff is, well, obviously we're going to have the phone number. So you got the phone numbers.
Everything. Their current interest rate in there as well.
Oh yeah. So that's why I pull everything, and then I'll go through and get what I don't want. So you got their phone numbers. It gives you a lot of info. So not just their interest rate. Watch, we'll find it. You got, here's the type, right? So the FHA, VA that we pulled. And then
Here's long term. Right
gives you
there.
the title company if you wanted that.
We just passed the loan rate, so there you go. That was there too.
Oh, where'd it go?
Right. Keep going back. There was, yeah, right there.
Oh, yeah.
3 point. There's the
Right,
loan
so
rate.
everything, I think on this list I did 3.4 or higher, right? So we got all the 3.45s. I mean, everything on this list is 3.4 or higher.
Right.
So there's
Being that it's FHA and VA, we know where our rates are, pretty much like
yeah.
2.5 range right there for either one of those programs.
Mhm.
And absolutely. And now that you have a little bit of info on that user,
It also tells you who the lender was.
Right, this.
Yeah, it's on, let's see if we can find it. Borrower. So I know it seems like a lot of info, but that's why I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna pull everything and go through it. It's right here.
Yeah.
And then I'll delete what I don't need, you know. So there's UWM right there. But you know, you got Mutual, you got Academy, you got Quicken, you know, so it tells you who the lender is, tells you what the rate is, what the program was, right? So FHA, VA,
That's
the rate, you know, so there's a lot. So I mean, if you really wanted to, you could really get.
So how do you buy that list? I mean, you created there was like 1100 in that list.
So let's say here, let's go. Let's try to shrink it down a little bit. So 974 at 3.5. Let's say you wanted to buy all, right? So you go view records, and it brings you the list, and then you go to select records, and this is where you're going to name it. So here's one quick trick when you're going to name these Excel sheets. Try to put the filters that you have, right? So you see the filters on the right hand side, the dates. So like for example, I would name this VA FHA, and I would say 1.2019 and 12.2020, so that I know the date range. And I would put probably Maricopa, right? Because I mean, you're going to pay for the data. So if you pull the same list twice, they don't care. you're going to pay for it.
Right.
So just try to remember. Or another thing that I do is I'll take this and I'll put it in a notepad. So here's what I've done is I put it in a little notepad or whatever. So like, here's my parameters, right? So I know that I ran California and I ran Los Angeles and San Diego counties, and I ran it for these dates at these parameters, right? So that was the list I pulled on 4/30, and then I pulled another list at 4/25, and I just did different counties, right? So I keep this handy so that I don't re-pull the same data twice, because I'm just going to end up paying for it 2 times.
Right.
And I try to implement that here on the naming convention. And you can either say like, okay, like for example, here we have 974 records, right? So let's say I just want 500. I'm just going to go 1 to 500. Okay. So then when you hit okay, like the next stop is literally going to pull the records and it's going to charge for it, right? Or if you have a subscription, it'll pull your 500 because you've already got data dollars in there.
Okay.
So you already got it. And then from this step, it just goes into, you just export.
I see.
So like my exports are here. Recently reports. Oh no, that was a proper report. So it's on downloads, right? So there's the ones that I downloaded from 1 to 29. There's the dates that I pulled, and it just comes out to the Excel sheet that I got. But that's it. You filter through here. You set your parameters. You go to view records, and then you're going to select the records you want. And when you go through, that's what's going to give you your Excel sheet, and that's when it kind of like charges your dollars if you don't have any. But you have to go through. You have to go through your subscriptions and whether you want to. It's on here.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, I mean that's a simple process. So you got that Excel spreadsheet with all the columns, everything else, and then you play with that data of what information do you need. Like in this case, instead of sending someone personalized mailers, because I've received it living here, being a homeowner, I've received these title records or mailers saying, well, so and so your your property or you have qualified for streamline or specific or another lower term mortgage, blah, blah, they already knew public record, like the loan amount that I had on my last loan. They knew the rate that I had. They knew everything about me, obviously. So now you, instead of sending mailers, you decided to plug that in a text campaign, basically.
So this is, yeah, so this is what I'll shrink the sheet down to, right? So out of all that information, this is what I'll keep.
Yeah.
Now I formatted this again because we're using daily AI, right? So when you upload it, there's a certain way you got to upload things. So one quick thing, Agent Pro doesn't pull emails, okay? So quick tip for anybody that is using daily AI, one of the required fields is an email, right? So when you upload the CSV file and you start putting together the filing convention, it's going to ask you for an email. You don't have an email, won't upload. So there's a website, just Google it. It just, I just generated 500 fake emails. Again,
I didn't know about that.
This is a text campaign. I know that I'm not going to do any emails. It's all text messages, voice drops, and videos, right? So the easiest thing for me to do is just generate 500 fake emails. Again, I'm not going to email anybody anything. This is just to get the list into specifically daily AI, because that's a CRM that we're currently using at this branch. Right?
I'll throw in my little tip for that, whether it's a phone number or email that needs to be, imported with fake information. I just simply use the generate something like 00001 at whatever.com there is, and then I use my Excel to kind of like create a similar like 0002 whatever, just something needs to be within the email and put in there. And then when I look at that email, I know immediately that it's fake email versus if I'm looking at your spreadsheet, they kind of look like a real email. So
no, that's true, and I tried that. I just couldn't get it to generate, and I'm like, I got frustrated with Excel, so I was like, I was like, I'll just Google it. So this is, I took these naming conventions here, I matched them with our actual data to the ones from Daily AI. So let me get into Daily AI real quick. So those of you that are with MLOBOX and you got the CRM, it might look a little familiar.
And it really doesn't matter what CRM that you have. Obviously, you have a data, and you just have to figure out a drip campaign that has a text message campaign in it, and go for it. Obviously, would love to help you with whichever way you, whatever you're using it. So hopefully you can apply the strategies in whatever CRM you're using. So.
Anything that's going to let you text. So that was one of the biggest things. And, our loan officer here, Kevin, in the branch. So again, I got this idea because we were doing the recruiting campaign. So guys, learn from me, do it the easy way, not the hard way. I was a little overzealous. I got 3,000 LO names and I just blasted everybody. Well, I clogged up my system, right? Too many text messages going out at the same time, too many of this, too many of this, where my text messages actually stopped. I mean, I had emails and text messages with the daily AI team, and it wasn't their fault. I just clogged the system, because you can only send out so many at a time. You're gonna get blacklisted and stuff like that. So whatever campaign you do, just do it moderately, right? Make sure you don't blacklist yourself. Make sure that you don't overload the system. Kevin, he wasn't doing the recruiting, so he was just straight out on the refi campaign. So he was able to moderate himself. He would do about 50 names and add 50 names to the campaign, like every morning, right? So that as he starts getting responses, then you can manage those, right? You don't have a ton of them coming in, because guys, don't get me wrong. Out of about 230, Kevin got, I think, 3 applications and one's already in underwriting for final approval. So I mean, you're not going to get everybody, but it's all a numbers game, right? And that's why we thought 500 was a good number. Not saying you guys can't do more, not saying you guys can't do less. We just thought 500 every month was a manageable number, and we just throw the campaign in there. So like I said, he got a loan out of it. I got a lot of responses. You're going to get the no's. You're going to get the no, stop. You're going to get the one, stop texting me. How'd you get my number? The good thing about this CRM, and make sure that whatever CRM you're using, is when somebody replies, it automatically takes them out of the campaign, right? So you're not accidentally sending them something else after they said stop, right? The other thing with that, though, is somebody says that they're interested, it's going to kick them out of the campaign. So it's up to you to follow up. You got to take that and either create a new one, or just make sure that you're following up when you have a positive response, right? Because any response at all is going to stop the campaign. So If it's a bad response, it's fine. They're not going to get any more text messages. But if it's a good one, you better be the one that's following up. So just real quick to recap, I mean, you guys can see, you know, the first one pretty much just says, hey, county records indicate that you have an interest rate over 3% on your current home loan. The good news is that your home may be eligible for a streamlined refinance. No appraisal needed, no income documents. It uses a mortgage-only credit report. Plus, you may be able to delay up to 2 payments. Call me to get started today. That's the first message, and then we did put, you know, reply stop to opt out, because we do want them to reply, good or bad. Because if they don't want to be bothered, then I want to know, right? Just say stop and we'll stop. So this is, you know, what we did is immediately after, a minute later, it sends an embedded video. And the video is an introduction of ourselves, and it just kind of goes over the same thing. Hey, my name is Arturo with Nexa Mortgage, and I'd like to show you how to save hundreds of dollars a month simply by taking advantage of a streamlined refinance. Give me a call today to get started. That's it. Small, short, sweet. And here's one of the biggest things, guys, and I think Kevin's here, but he's probably on another call. The most common response that Kevin got, especially the customers that said that they were interested, is they literally told him in the text message, they told him, you know, the only reason I responded was because of your video. Mm-hmm. I mean, they literally said, we have a bunch of mailers from other companies, but your video made it seem like you were a real person, which we are, right? So you get that personability, so it's more personable. And it made me feel like I was actually working with somebody rather than just some random company on a mailer.
100%. So that's a big strength of this particular CRM, putting that video out there.
That campaign, I mean, you know, whether it's the recruiting campaign, again, that's where I got all these ideas from. I was just putting different things together from, you know, what Brett was doing, what you were doing, and I just kind of just flipped it into a refi campaign. Yeah. You know, and that's the most common response was like, hey, that video really made me feel like I was working with somebody, you know, like an actual person, not just some company off the mailer that I know nothing about. Right. So being able to put that, guys, if you're going to put this into an automatic campaign, whatever CRM you're using, just check to see if it's got that video capability, because that's been a big hit. Just a 15-second video to introduce yourself has been a really good hit with getting these people. And it's a numbers game, you know, 253 contacts. He got basically, like I said, 3 applications and one's already in closing. You know, the second one is a voice drop. So this is a voicemail. It just basically says, hey, I'm just following up on a text message that I sent you yesterday. Right? Quick voicemail, voice drop. Then after that, it just goes on, you know, hey, Nexa Mortgage, following up to see if you have time to review your streamline options. Do you have time to talk? You know, and then we do 3 days later. So we're not hitting them every single day. We're trying to space it out. Now, again, if you guys want to change any of this stuff, this is all up to you guys. We're just sharing things that we're doing. Doesn't mean that we're perfect. Doesn't mean we're doing it the right way, the wrong way. If you guys want to do it daily, if you guys want to add to the message, if you guys want to change stuff up, I mean, this is just what we have going on, you know. And then it goes again to 3 days later. You know, hey, just wondering if you have time to review your streamline. Let me know what time that works best for you. And again, 3 days later, did you know that a streamline refinance gets the name from that? It's just the bare minimum. So again, we're touching the fact that there's no appraisal, because it's been a week since the first message. So we're repeating, hey, there's no appraisal, there's no income, there's no, you know, we're just trying to say how easy it is. And then 5 days after that, we're like, hey, you know, maybe you want to get a quote to see how much you can save. So your payment is much higher than it should be. So we're just keeping the messages short. At one point, we talk about cash out. So here's this one. So maybe a streamline is not right for you. Would you like to hear about our cash out options? Now we're just trying to get their attention. You know, they've already had about a week or 10 days of streamline text messages. Maybe if we say the word cash out, do you want to see how much you qualify for today? Hopefully that grabs their attention and that makes them respond some way, right? So maybe they want to do a cash out. And again, you know, our average borrower was able to save $200 a month by doing a streamline refinance. So we were just trying to come up with at least 10 different messages. And we wanted to get this out because we wanted to test it. We're not done. We want to keep adding, right? We want to keep adding to the campaign, because sometimes you got to be in front of a customer for 60, 90 days before they respond. So as long as they don't respond negatively, we should still be marketing to these people. Because if they haven't responded, we should keep them in the campaign. I mean, the old sales saying is, you know, you follow up till they buy or die, right? Because they're either going to die or they're going to buy from someone. You know, it's either going to be us or it's going to be the other guy, you know. So this is just this is just what got us started. We were just excited to try it out, try out the campaign on Daily AI, see what the results were. But we're really not done adding. So if you guys want to take this and run with it, and you guys want to keep on adding to the messages, you know, by all means, like I think this campaign can be made out to 30, 60, 90 days, you know,
I
until
agree.
you know, until they say no, until they
I
literally say
agree.
no and say
Maybe
stop.
maybe we can mix in some of like your business card. I know you have attaching your virtual card, but even an image of a business card, or letting them know that you may want you know, if they'd like to schedule an appointment with you one-on-one, throw
Yeah,
in a
you can throw the Calendly links.
Calendly in there saying, I know time, you know, like, hey, let me know, is there a better time we can communicate, things like that.
You can throw your
And
Calendly links in here. You know, definitely probably throw another video or two. You're right.
I agree.
You did the first video up front, maybe after the, you know, maybe one video or two every month. So again, this is just something that we just started. We only ran it out once, and we were just excited to try it. And you know, Kevin got really good success. I got people that said, "Oh, dude, I refinanced last month." Right. So
Right.
think about it. If I would have caught him
You
a
were
month
short.
before, you know, it's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, we refinanced last month." And some people will say, "Well, how'd you get my number?" Well, it's county. It's public record.
Records.
It's
Exactly.
public. It's
It is
public record.
public.
You know. So
That's right. The only other thing, since we're talking about how did you get my number, right? Let's throw in there as far as that do not call list when it comes to texting and figuring out. I know you have a little
yeah. So
system
we've
for that.
posted this on both groups, right? The Next Internal and MLOBOX. So again, if you have your own source, share it, put it out there. But I found this one, and you can see, I mean, you can scrub up to 5,000 numbers for 35 bucks, right? The other thing that I did this time, so we just scrubbed 2,500 numbers. We all got together and pulled our list, and then we send them out at the same time. That way, each one of us is not paying 35 bucks. So we put them all in together. And what I did this time, it also scrubs for mobile. So actually, it does cost a little bit more, but here, let's pull up like, this is just one. Yeah, so this is one of my California lists. So this is the way the list comes back after scrubbing. And all the way at the end, they'll tell you, is it on the DNC? No, right? So all these ends it is not on the do not call list, right? So we would filter by any Ys, because if it's yes, then you don't want to mark it to those, okay? But then the other thing was, it'll actually tell you if this is a mobile, okay? So this number is not a mobile. This one is, this one is, this one's not. So here you know that, hey, guess what? On the ones that are yes for mobile, the text message is going to go out. The ones that are no, you probably want to put those either on a separate campaign where you can dial, right? Because
Right.
the text message isn't going to go out. And that's one of the things, again, this is our first time doing it. And this is one of the things that I learned the hard way, because I was going back with the Daily AI guys. I was like, hey, my text messages aren't going out. Why aren't they, why aren't they going out? And they're like, well, Arturo, are you sure it's a mobile phone? And I'm like, no, I'm not sure. So this time around, so you know what? I'm going to filter for mobile phones. It costs a little bit more, but it's definitely worth it, because now I can filter by the ones that are mobile and send specifically a text campaign to anybody that's not on the do not call list and has a mobile number. And it's a text campaign. I'm not doing email. I'm just texting.
I agree.
And
I agree. It's worth it.
I can save the data for the ones that are not mobile. And guess what we can do with those? Call them. At that point, yeah. At that point, I'm pulling out the phone and we're just making phone calls. Because I'm not going to do the mailers. We don't have their email. So there's only one option left. It's literally call.
Love
So
it.
this is the way the data comes out after.
Have you tested some where you would, instead of saying your interest rate is at over 3% or something like that, have you tested by actually putting that interest rate part of their like knowing, hey, I know your interest rate is at 3.375 or 3.4.25, whatever that rate is, at a specific address, maybe your property at this address has
you
qualified
can
for
put
it.
their address in there. I mean, if you really dug into it, I think we can get that specific. We might need a little bit of help from Daily AI to get some of the fields, because I'll show you what I did. So like, here's a contact from Agent Pro, right? So like this guy, if you go in here, and if you remember the list that I put together here, I was only able to use fields that are inside Daily AI. And I did keep the rate, as a field, but I had to put it in the facts, right?
Right.
So you can
And
use
that's
these fields, but it doesn't come over as a 3.45. It comes over as a 345.
oh really?
So here's the details. So like here's the employer I put Quicken, right? So I can do a quick reference. I know where their loan's at. I know it's an FHA, not a VA. The
You know,
anniversary date.
because you use the fax because it's like a cell phone number or phone number.
Well, I was
If
trying
you
to look
use the
for,
different,
yeah, I was trying to look for a field that would allow me to put numbers in it. So,
yeah,
so it came in as just like basically 345.
yeah,
Um,
invalid there. You'd have to use some additional field there. That's one thing. Or the other way, I know there are ways to like that we can request additional fields, and I'll talk to the daily AI team tomorrow. Interest rate is one
I
of
know
the,
they were talking about putting interest rate on because that's, I mean, we're in
yeah,
mortgages, so that's a very common field to have. So I know they were talking about that. But yeah, I mean, I just kind of made do with what we had available at the time.
yeah,
And this is in case, I mean, obviously you have the info in the Excel sheet, but this is in case you got into a conversation with somebody, like if somebody responded positively, then I can go in here and go to the contact details and it's a quick reference guide. Oh, okay, I know that they're FHA and I know they're at, 3.45. So, as you're
yeah,
talking to them, you can probably, have a more meaningful conversation without having to go back and forth to the Excel sheet.
correct.
This anniversary date is basically the recording date because remember we filtered by the recording date. So it's like, okay, well, I know you closed on your home on March 18, 2020.
Okay,
So just, and I put the source just so I can keep track of my leads of what's closing, where
that's
it's
good.
coming from.
That's good. Sounds
Um,
good. So simple, pull the list, then you scrub the list, and you recommend the one with the mobile, which I would honestly recommend that as well. Scrub that list. Looks like that scrubbing was $35 up to 5,000. So
yeah, so
it,
ours came out to, we had 2,500 and I think I paid $60 because I decided to use the scrubber. Yeah, so it was like, see, it's like $70 altogether
yeah, I see.
for the 2,500 because I wanted to scrub for the mobile because it's gonna, again, I learned the hard way. I was like, why are my text messages not going out? And daily AI, I was like, well, are you sure they're cell phones?
Arturo, thank you for providing this. Can we also use this to get VA leads too?
Well, that's specifically, if you missed the beginning, that's exactly what we're talking about. So here, I'll go back.
Yeah, I'm really, you have to forgive me. I'm really good at missing beginnings of things.
Yeah, no worries. So check this out.
I'm always late to Renato's and I'm texting going,
It's
how do
right
I
here.
log
Look,
on?
so what we did is I specifically did FHA and VA because I wanted to get the most out of it, right? So you got FHA and VA, and some of the verbiage is kind of common. I used the word streamline. I didn't say Earl. I didn't say FHA streamline. I just said streamline refinance, which is true. They're both streamlined, right?
And did you get the list from the title company?
So that's one source that you can, but what we're talking about using Agent Pro 247, which is this. And these are the filters that you can go by state, by city. So
this isn't this connected out of our MLOBOX, Renato?
No, the
No.
Agent Pro 247 is not. It's just another source that you can go out there and get it by. You can probably connect with the multiple different title agents. Some I know they're providing some services, maybe even for free. I don't know how much. This was 500 records for free. Was it for free, Arturo?
No,
Or no?
it's this one,
$50.
you can buy them a la carte, right? So you can buy them as you go. But when I was gonna pull like 500, it was gonna cost me like $120. But then when you go to their subscriptions, I can pull 500 for $50. So I was like, well, I'll just do the 500 for 50 and keep it on a monthly basis and do it that way.
So subscription of a $35 a month gets you 500.
$50 a month gets you 500.
Oh, $50, sorry.
The 35 is for the scrubbing, right?
Correct.
So essentially you can do, it's $85 a month, and you got a scrub list of people to either
500
call
people
or tag.
with the higher rates than.
Yeah,
than,
you filter. So we filtered by rate, right? So like this is 3.6 or higher, and we got 974 records. So
Oh, that's awesome. How many people, how many deals did you get out of this?
So we've only ran the campaign once. I wasn't very successful. I think I bogged down my CRM a lot with the recruiting campaign, but our LO Kevin, he pulled 236 records. He got 3 applications out of it, and one of them's already approved, waiting for final. So the thing is to put these records, put them into a CRM, put it on autopilot, right? So we're not sitting here dialing 8 hours a day, but we throw the campaign in there. We're throwing about 50, using Renato's CRM, we were throwing about 50 campaigns or 50 contacts into the campaign about every day. That's manageable. You can, pay attention to the responses as they come in.
What drip campaign did you use?
We created one.
Oh, you did?
And the one that you created, we can make it available for everyone as well. So we will make it available for all by tomorrow. I'll have a daily AI team clone it over to everyone's CRM. So
Renato, where do I need to go to learn about like the real estate thing and the, following up with the realtors?
anything CRM is honestly.
I know, but what I'm lost on is like, where's the realtor list and then where's the campaign for that?
Okay, yeah, just we had a little bit of trouble importing those realtors. I gave the list to daily AI team to do it for me, and I'll follow up with them tomorrow.
So I'm not late getting on the way again.
No, you're not late on that one. As a matter of fact, what is it? June 22nd is when Sean is going to be doing this realtor presentation on behalf of all of us. We'll have everyone have a list of realtors getting these there. So
did you get the invite from CMPS today?
Not sure. I didn't.
I'll email it to you. They are doing a 1-hour CE class tomorrow, and it's sponsored by MGIC, and you can send, and I sent it out through my CRM, but it's going over how to deal with both buyers and sellers in a in a market where people think that it's a bubble.
Sounds good. Hey, I want to finish up this particular meeting with Arturo here because we were going specifically over all these campaigns and how we can generate the leads for it. So
sorry, Arturo.
No, I appreciate it, Michael. We'll definitely cover the other parts as well. So basically, it's as simple as that. Like what you did. Was there anything else, Arturo, that you did other than getting the leads from a pro title? Or Agent Pro 247?
Yeah, check with your title companies. Again, it's just personal experience. The list that I got from title companies usually don't come with a lot of phone numbers. Like there'll be a few, but it's not a lot. So I find myself doing a lot of manual work to reverse search the phone numbers and doing it.
Yeah.
So when I found Agent Pro 247 and I filter for numbers only, I'm not trying to mail it out. I just want phone numbers. Then you get 500 numbers. Now, you do get some that's like, hey, this isn't John. Sorry, this isn't so-and-so. So again, guys, this is just something I found. We're just sharing the ideas that we're trying to work with.
Right.
It's been successful the first month. I'd say one loan out of the 253. Kevin spent $85 and got a loan out of it. Come on, it's not.
Yeah, absolutely. This is literally like if you have no list whatsoever.
Right,
if you already have a list of all your past clients, load them into. And you're not really working that list, you're not following up. This would be one way that you might want to preload your list.
Yeah,
I did the class
for the 2020 Vision for Success because we have a lot of new loan officers on the mentor program, and there's a lot of people that just don't have the database. They're just starting out. So it's one of the things like. When I was brand new, I'm like, holy smokes, how do I get my first loan in? It's like, you don't know where to start. So, can it help anybody generate an extra loan or 2 a month? I think so, right? Even if you have a pipeline already, you want to get an extra 2 or 3 loans a month. As long as you have time to do it.
What would you say to like first time now that you set it up? Like it took you maybe an hour of your time to really load it in.
Oh no, it takes less because once you upload the contacts, you're going to upload the 500. You're not going to start blasting all 500 the same day, right? It's as easy as this. You go to your contacts, and so one of the things that I did is I created different groups, right? So it's easy for me here's my group, right? So the next upload I do, I'm going to do a different group. I'm going to put Agent Pro List Group 2 because it's as easy as this. Look, here's my group. I go here. I go Mass Action. I go. Or is the add to drip campaign, and each page is about 50 people. Okay, so we call it one page at a time where you're basically doing 50 contacts. And I find my campaign, and then you add. And as soon as you add, if you realize a campaign, we put a 1 second delay. That means that as soon as you add it, you're going to have those initial 50 text messages going out. Right. So how long did it take to do this? Less than a minute.
Correct.
Right. So basically, once you have it set up and you upload your contact list, I mean, you're going through here. And if you want to do two, then do two, right? Do the first page and then go to the other one and send out 100 text messages. But you're enrolling them in the campaign. So you're going to get those. Again, you just click all, mass action, add to campaign. You add them in there and those start going. And then you see, where is it at? I think it's in the dashboard. I don't know. I mean, here's, right? I mean, look at that, wrong number. This ain't Richard. Okay, that's fine. He responded. Guess what? He's out of the campaign. But you can see that these went out this morning, right? So here's this guy. He's on step 1, step 2. So this guy hasn't responded to anything, and he's on step 8 of the campaign, right? But like that's the point, though. It just unless they respond, it's going to keep going until we reach step 10. Right. So this is an ongoing thing. Kevin and I are going to keep working on this and make step 11, 12, 13. We're going to keep adding to it. Like I said, when we first got the idea, I was like, we just wanted to get it going. We just wanted to throw something out there. So we put these 10 steps in here to just get something going. And, I'd say it works. So it's just getting the data, put it in there, and find whatever CRM you have. I'm sure there's other resources for text messages. There's, Phone Burner, there's Mojo. There's dialer systems that you can sit there and click the button and dial. But
the key is to stay in front of people. Yeah. Stay in front of them. Let them know that you are there, available. And
the hard part is getting the data, right? Because when you're brand new, you don't know where to get the data from. If you don't, I mean, you have your friends and family around you, but not everybody's going to jump on board and say, "Yeah, refinance me." So again, I got the ideas from watching all these other guys. Tom made his business out of leads. There's nothing wrong with buying leads to start your database, right? He went to Lending Tree. He did the bank rate stuff. He did mailers, $4,500 for 7,500 mailers. Yeah, he got a lot of loans off of it. But think about how many you had to go through. 7,500 mailers. He didn't do 7,500 loans, right? No way. It's like maybe 1%. On the mailers, it's a huge number to go through. That's why you have to mail out so many to get any kind of response. So you got to mail out like 75. If you're going to mail out minimum maybe 3,000 to 2,500 to even get a couple phone calls. I did 2,500 pieces of mail, and I must have gotten like 6 phone calls. I can tell you that I got less than 10.
That's a lot of postmarks, and
I got less than 10 phone calls out of it.
And it creates it's just a lot of work that it probably took you days and maybe a week to set all of that up and go to all the different places.
Well, you got to go back and forth to compliance. You got to go to I think it's OSI, whatever the company was. You got to set everything up, and everybody has to get their individual 800 number so that when the lead calls, it goes to the right person, right? So I got an 800 number. Tom got an 800. Everybody got an 800 number. Yeah. And you just have to be ready to respond. And those are like when they call, you better answer because they got 20 other mailers to call. Right?
The one thing I want to kind of point it out, like not everyone even here in MLOBOX has this CRM, but you guys have access to this. I would love to work here with you, with Arturo, to basically help you up, set you up with your lead gen campaign, whether it's your past client database or your realtors past client database, or just leads from from a title themselves, or pretty much anything that you any database that you're working with. Let's put that database to work. Basically, that's what we're trying to do. And primarily, and I agree with you 100%, Arturo, in here, primarily I would be sending text messages 99% of the time. Emails are kind of nice and cute, but only 5 to 10% of them get open when text message gets 80 to 90% open rate. So you're getting, maybe you can get creative. Maybe you can just simply, create a short 15-second video and just let people know that you would love to help them out if they have someone with their mortgage needs, refi, purchase. Just be you. That one thing that you mentioned early on, that people responded maybe just for seeing the video, is also a huge like trust factor builder there, knowing that, hey, I'm an independent loan officer. I would love to work for you. Let them know you're with Next, the largest mortgage broker in the country, and you do have that rates are amazing there. That you would love to save the money. You don't need to talk to them any different than you would talk to your friends and family member. I've shared my story multiple times, either also with many other people. When I say I ran a YouTube video ad where I simply, when I first joined Next, I simply told my friends and family, hey, I am in the mortgage industry. Some of them didn't know that, because you mentioned that you've been in the mortgage industry since 2019, right? I've been in the mortgage industry since 2017, but still some of my some of my friends did not know that I was in the mortgage industry when I got in it. And I created a video in 2019 letting them know, hey, some of you may not know, but I would love to quote you. I would love to help you out. I'd love to save you money, and I would love to be an option for you. Let me educate you. Let me teach you. Put that in a video, send it out to, send that message out of your heart to other people, even if they're strangers. I personally have that kind of like approach. I have not really purchased these lists, but at the same time, I find myself every time I just go and I'm talked to as if I'm talking to my either friend or neighbor or a family member. I write messages for them, and then I plug those into one-time campaign or multiple leads like this, multiple steps campaign like that. And yes, you're not going to get everyone respond, but generally speaking, you'll have 1 out of 100 that does
Yeah.
respond.
I mean, it's a numbers game.
Yeah.
You know? It's
1
you
out
gotta
of
go
100
with who you know.
response.
Yeah.
And so you send those 100 or 50 or 100 a day. That makes you, 1 or 2 phone calls or message. And speaking about text messaging too, I think about 60 or 70% of all of my loans that I closed last year were done all through text messages. As far as the setting up part, the selling it. Once I sold it, then I got them on a Zoom and talked to them. But the introduction part was like all through text first. I did not make any cold calls or call out people and told them, no, I'll let the text messages do, or social media messages. So it's a very powerful tool. Let's put it to work. Arturo, I appreciate you
Yeah, and
doing
remember,
this.
I mean, it's not just FHA. We know rates are going up, so we still think maybe we got 1-2 more months of maybe some streamlines, but we know that most of the people already got low rates. But remember, we got cash out refinance coming, right? So Kevin and I are going to work on the script for that, for a cash out refi, because you can filter by people that bought 2 months ago, or 2 years ago. You can filter by any LTV. So we're going to hit up another round of streamlines, and then our next one is going to be probably cash out, and then we're going to hit up anybody that's got a second lien. The second lien is going to be for that down payment assistance, because they're probably going to be at 5 or higher, right? So we're going to look for people that bought 18 months ago, so a year and a half, with the second lien. More likely means that they're in down payment assistance, and when you can drop somebody from 5 to a 3 and get rid of PMI, they're saving like $400 a month. Those are going to be laydowns, full LPC.
I agree, man. Cash out is going to be a huge for the years to come, still with all these high equity in every home.
And there's going to be, there's going to be so much data for cash out. I mean, you're talking about people 2 years and older, right? 2 years, you might get a little bit of it, but 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I mean, man, and there's tons of data for that, regardless of what the rate is. At that point, I'm not filtering by rate. There's no way. I don't care what the rate is. We're just talking about LTV.
Correct.
And then don't forget, we got the new refi, right? It's kind of like a conventional streamline. So Fannie to Fannie, Freddie to Freddie. Yeah. So one of them is out already. The other one comes out, I think it's like August 5th. But as long as it's a Fannie to Fannie, right? You have to drop the rate by 50, so half a point, and then you have to save them $50 a month, which isn't going to be hard. And they get up to $500 credit at the end towards the appraisal. So you still got to do the appraisal, still got to pay for an order and all that, assuming you didn't get a waiver. But at the end, they get $500 back in credit towards that appraisal. So again, I forget which one, if it's Fannie or Freddie that's out now, but if you guys pay attention to your emails, we got a lot of lenders already advertising I know it's already live with UWM. So Fanny to Fanny, Freddie to Freddie. you
Yep.
know, those are there too.
Sounds good, Arturo. Hey, I appreciate you. If anyone has any questions, this is live streaming in the Facebook. Feel free to drop additional sources, maybe ideas, how you get to your leads, how can you use CRM with automation, with the video text messages and regular text messages. How would you use it to go out there and get more business? Let us know. This is one of great ideas right there. I appreciate you sharing it. Let's get everyone extra loan or two that is and help another family there. That's the way I look at it. Is
Yep.
let's help more people out there. Plenty of them are either they're going to get help by you with a lower rate, or they're going to get or Quicken or someone else will get to them, refinancing them at a whole lot higher rates than we are. So
these are all ideas, guys. So we're sharing with you is what we're doing here at the brand. So if anybody has anything else, just plug it in there. Tell us what your sources are. Where do you pull numbers from? Where do you pull data from? And then again, I am not compliance. So make sure whatever you do before you communicate to the borrowers, make sure you send it over to the compliance department and send them your script and all that stuff to make sure that you got everything in there.
That's right.
So don't take my word for it. If I made a mistake, don't make my mistake, right? So make sure you take care of yourself.
I would say the key part of this text campaign, which we cover over, is simply do not call list and having that report that you ran it.
So one quick thing that maybe we didn't mention, but when you run the report, you gotta send that Excel sheet over to compliance. They have to have it in their records before you make the phone calls. So once you get the list and it's already filtered, then you send it over to compliance, and they'll have it in their records. And they'll show that it came from you and stuff like that.
Sounds good. Thank you so much. We'll definitely probably follow up on something like this in a month. Figure out like additional ways of getting leads and making your database work. Guys, reach out to me anytime if you have any questions. I will say that even specifically talking about CRM like this that you were going over tomorrow at 11 o'clock every Wednesday, every Friday. I have the Daily AI team simply answering every question there is. They're there to help us out. That's all from me. I appreciate you, Arturo. Talk to you. I'll let you know. Let's stay in touch. Let's keep on brainstorming and masterminding. That's the way I see it. How else would you use your CRM campaigns? I mean, you just mentioned like 5-6 different ways, but any additional ideas, let us know, and go out there and crush it. That's all.
Oh, yeah,
Thank
man.
you.
All right.
Thank you, man. See you.